Hey everybody, welcome to the next episode of the Strand Tennis Center podcast, filled with tips, advice, tennis, not tennis, just life advice too, whatever you need. Like it on YouTube, share it on the podcast as well. Thank you. Live Strand Tennis Center podcast. Usually we strip audio, Tasha. This is Tasha. She works here and plays here, and she's just been with us recently, and she's a great guest to talk to about what we're going to talk to. We're going to talk about patience. But what I was saying is we usually strip audio of our clinics and give you tips that way, but we'd like to now... Can you hear me fine? All good? I like to now start doing some more specific topics where we can take some time, talk for 15 minutes, talk for 20 minutes, really hone in on a specific topic. Again, Strand Tennis Center podcast. Share it with anybody. It's on YouTube as well. You'll see it wherever podcasts are. But today I want to talk about patience. Patience is very important. Very important here because people are getting, especially, I guess, in general in this country, are getting so used to getting things quickly. They want results. They want results. Everybody says, I want to achieve this in 6 months, 8 months. But they don't realize success is a lagging indicator, and that's what's really hard for kids to understand is you'll work, you'll come up with nothing. You'll work some more, you come up with nothing. You'll work a little bit more, you come up with nothing. Then all of a sudden, something will switch, and you'll start to have success, whether it be monetarily, whether it talk about wins, anything. But you gotta go through that work. And people are looking for quick fixes. There are none. There are no quick fixes. There's no secret sauce. There's nothing you can do to say, all right, let me expedite this. Instead of it being 10 years, 8 years, I forget the person who was like wasn't number 3 or 4 of Facebook. I don't know. But they were like, if you're going to do anything, give yourself 10 years. And then see if you're successful. Everything takes about 10 years. So that's the hard thing for people to understand. You're not going to be successful right away. And we were just going to do this with me and Santi. And then Tasha was here on a break and said, I was asking her about, because she's from Zimbabwe, and I was asking about her story. And I was like, you want to talk about patience? You want to talk about tenacity? You want to talk about stick-to-itiveness and desire? We talked about 2 episodes ago, attitude and effort. It's all attitude and effort to get where she's standing right here from where she started. So, Tasha, hello. Thank you for being here.
Anytime.
And thank you
for having me, actually.
No, and thank you for being at this club. I'm so happy that you're here. It's been great.
And I was surprised today. I got in, and someone was like, who's crazy enough to be from North Dakota? They saw my plate. And then I was just in the lobby. I was like, I think that's me.
Well, tell them where you're originally from. She came from North Dakota. She was working in North Dakota, and then we were lucky to be able to get her to come out here and work. But so tell me, give me a little bit creation story of how you got to the States, how this all started with tennis.
How it started with tennis. How I started playing tennis?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a long story. Okay, so I was in primary school. What do you call it here? That's before middle school.
Like elementary school?
Elementary school?
Yeah, we call it elementary school. Before middle school, before 6th grade, 5th grade, 4th grade. Okay.
Yes. So in Zimbabwe, we just have it from 1 to 7. And then you go to high school and stuff. So I was in elementary school when a guy came. My mom didn't have enough money for me to go to school, because middle school back in Zimbabwe, you have to pay for that. You have to pay for middle school, you have to pay for high school, you have to pay for all that. So my mom didn't have enough money for me to go to middle school. So there was a guy that was going around, and he was like, oh, if you play tennis, and then I'll pay for your tennis stuff, whatever. So I was like, oh, okay. I wanted to go to school, so I decided to play tennis. So the more I play, the more he's paying for my middle school.
Did he see some aptitude in tennis for you already?
No,
or
he was just looking for players. He was just looking, because I came from, is it called low density, high density, where so many people are not fortunate enough to have money to do stuff, whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, so he was he's trying to better other people's lives. So he just came. He went to different elementary schools, and then he was just telling schools. And
he was just hoping maybe you had some tennis talent.
Yeah. So he had the first day we went there, he had over 400 kids over there. He had 400 kids because it was for free.
Back up for a second, but describe to me. You're talking about some people that can do it or not. describe to me your life. Like, how was your home life? Where were you living? Were you in one room? How difficult was it in regards to how your lifestyle was?
Okay, when you were a kid? So I was fortunate enough that I stayed with my grandpa. Okay. So we stayed in it was like a four room house. Okay, good. And it had we were 6 of us. Okay. So 2 people in the room. Okay. But where I come from, it's you probably see 4 families in a room like this. And then we divide with the curtain. So, and then when you go shower, you gotta hold on your soap, because if you put it down, you won't find it. Someone next to you will start.
Somebody's gonna steal your soap.
No, that's true story.
Okay, I believe you. So there was 400 kids there. You go to this place that he has.
So I go to this place, and then so many people, and they have 10 rackets, and they have 400 kids. Oh my God. And they have 20 tennis balls, At the end of the day, he doesn't have any tennis balls because the kids stole the tennis balls. So he has rackets. At the end of the day, he doesn't have any tennis balls, So we did that the first time, and then so he did it every Saturday. So every Saturday from 12 to 2 would go play tennis, and everybody was there. But then as time went on, numbers started decreasing. So every week he had a new basket, and we had only one basket of 20 tennis balls. Numbers were decreasing. But if he opens up 20 tennis balls, he's probably going to go back with 1 or 2. Because people would have stolen tennis balls. Because we used to play soccer with tennis balls in the streets.
So does the number decrease because he realized the kids aren't good enough, so he says, I can't fund you, or they're just
More kids don't come anymore, because if you have 10 rackets, how many people are going to play tennis?
And you just said, listen, I want to stay.
Yeah, I was just going. I was going to watch my sister. She likes tennis. Okay. I didn't really like tennis. I was just going to see, and then you would meet new people there, so we'd be talking for 2 hours, So then numbers started decreasing, and then we started playing now, because he only had 10 rackets, so which means 50 people, which means in an hour I get to hit the ball once. It's okay. And then we exchange rackets, and then, which was fun, and I couldn't wait for that Saturday. I would be I want to go. I get to play tennis. I get to hit at least 1 or 2 balls, and then I move at the back of the line, 49 people in front of me, By the time it's an hour, I only hit the ball twice, but then I want to do it again next week, so I keep coming. It's amazing. So that happened. And then he held a tournament. He was after a month of doing it, he had close to 100 kids or something, and then he held a tournament. So in that tournament, he was if you win, you get a textbook and a pen. I didn't have a pen. I wanted a pen for my classes. Oh my gosh. So it was if you win, if you get to at least last 16, you get a textbook. If you get to the last 8, you get a textbook and a water bottle. Oh my God. And that's the best. Water bottle, that's the best, because I'm only used to those drinking ones, not the actual water bottle. Not the actual water bottle. So, if you really want it, you would have it. And then the first prize had a t-shirt. So it was just a plain t-shirt, and then a water bottle, and a textbook, and a pen.
We usually complain around here about our lattes not being hot enough. You know what I'm trying to say? Everybody wants their Frappuccino perfect. That's what I'm saying. I talk about appreciation for just a pen and a water bottle. Talk about Starbucks.
It's coffee.
You've never been to Starbucks,
No,
right?
I've been. Frappuccinos are coffee.
See, that's why that joke went 0, because Frappuccinos are coffee. That's
I didn't know what he was.
I was just saying that we have a tendency around here to complain about how our coffee is and how this is and that is. No. You see, and you're just loving that you get a pen.
Oh yeah.
But go ahead. Sorry, I shouldn't.
The pen was the best, So he had the last 8, and then I think I got into the last 8. So I had a notebook, and then to write in class, because back in school you have to get your own pen, textbook, and all that kind of stuff. So the next weekend I went to school, and I had a pen and a book. So which was amazing, the teacher didn't have to yell at me. But then the thing is, I had to share with my cousin. So which means that whole notebook, I had to cut it in half, But then the thing is, she's now inspired. She's saying, oh, Tasha is going for tennis. And then if I go for tennis too, I'm going to get another a notebook. Wow. So we started playing tennis together.
See, that motivated you.
Exactly. That's so amazing. She went again with me.
Smart. Who was the person that, do you remember the person's name that started this? It was great motivator, great teacher to be able to motivate you to do that.
I forgot his name,
But anyways.
Yeah.
Did he really know tennis? Were you really playing better, or was it?
He has played before.
Okay.
He had a foundation. He actually had his own foundation called Remangwana Re Africa.
Okay.
So it means tomorrow's Africa.
Okay.
So
where did you get to the point? So you keep building, and then where do you get to the point where you're like, well, somebody sees other talent in you? Where do you start just playing like a lot, where you have a place where did you ever get to a place in Zimbabwe where you had a facility to play at?
Oh, yeah. So what happened is he kept having those monthly or 2 months tournaments, and then I kept playing, so I kept getting better.
Wow.
So I kept, like, there was a time where he would even pay for my school fees and stuff and going further and further. So he ended up just having like maybe 4 or 5 people that were really good, but then we came from nothing because we didn't even have tennis shoes. I used to play tennis without any shoes on, like
barefoot.
Just like barefoot. I didn't have anything.
And what was the court surface like? Just dirt?
Tar. Yeah, so it's tar that has paint on it. So it was like, imagine, and I'll play tennis for like 5-6 hours. So I'm playing tennis in tar without anything, just like 5-6 hours of just tennis.
This is why patience is everything. Like, you talk about patience and tenacity. Look.
It was.
Think about it. Waiting in line, 49 kids for one ball. And you still are focused enough to say, listen, I'm going to do this. It's amazing.
Yes, it was fun.
They always say too much or too little. Like, you need a little adversity. I mean, that's a lot of adversity, but it's so. You see how strong and how much it builds you into where you are. But go ahead, keep going. I'm just so interested. So you gotten to this point. Where do you get to the point where you're practicing 3 hours or 4 hours a day, or where he's supporting you, or where are you at with that?
So he took me to like a different coach.
Okay.
He was like, oh, this is a coach that's gonna be your coach from now on. And then that coach was my coach throughout the whole tennis thing. So his name was Chiti, or his name was Linson. So it was like on a high school. So I had to go play tennis in the morning. I couldn't, like, sometimes I didn't have like time throughout the whole day.
Okay.
So he would like give me a schedule saying you playing tennis with this person. So you would like use me to practice with other people. So the more I practice with other people and the more I play more tournaments, he gets more money in.
That's
like
great.
Because other people are coming in. So we started doing that over and over again, and I started liking it. I was like, man, I like playing tennis, so let's do it.
What kind of tournaments were they holding in Zimbabwe? Were they just...
So they were like provincial tournaments.
Okay.
You know, he would have provincial tournaments. And then there's a time where I started playing ITFs.
Okay,
So
awesome.
I started playing more ITFs, but I was only playing ITFs in Zimbabwe because no one was funding for my ITFs to leave the country.
So how do you get... I don't want to interrupt. I'm just trying to get to... How does a college notice you then? Well, how does that happen?
Okay, so...
You're playing ITFs.
I'm playing ITFs. I'm getting ITF points. And then I'm just going to like neighboring countries. So I would like maybe if I want to play an ITF and other people are flying, and my mom would be like, I don't have enough money for you to fly. I'd be like, it's fine, I'll go by bus, you know. So which means if people are gonna go there on, what day is it today? Wednesday? If
Wednesday.
people are leaving on Saturday, which means I start leaving on Wednesday by bus. Because it's going to be 3 days.
Yeah.
So we got to be on a bus for the next 3 days. And then I'm going to wait for them.
It's not good for the legs. You got to stretch. Not good sitting on the bus for 3 days.
No. So I'd go to a different country by bus, you know. So I'd go in a different country and wait for the team. And I started representing Zimbabwe and doing the same thing. So when I started representing for Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe would be like, we don't have funds. You have to fund yourself. Like, we select you to play for Zimbabwe, but we're not going to fund you to go to that country. If you don't have enough money, you're out of the team. So that happened to me so many times.
Oh my gosh.
That happened to me so many times. And then sometimes I'll just go by bus. And then they'll be like, well, if you get there, you need a hotel, you need food. So when I get to that country, I would look for someone else that I know. If I could stay in their house or whatever, sleep in the couch for the next 1 week or something while I'm playing for Zimbabwe, you know, because all I wanted was to play for Zimbabwe. But anyway, fast forward, my mom has a brother that was here. He was in Kentucky.
Okay.
So he was like, oh, Tasha is really good in tennis. She's been playing for Zimbabwe for a long time. She's done with high school, so how about she comes over here? And then they were like, okay, as long as she can get a visa, then it's fine. So I got a visa, and then I went to Kentucky. So when I got to Kentucky, my uncle was like, well, you want to play professional or you want to go to college? And I wasn't that smart in school, so I was like, I want to go pro. I want to be a professional tennis player. And it's like, okay, so what's next? He went and he spoke to a guy that had like a facility like yours.
Okay.
And then they had a deal that I coach, and then in return I'll use the ball machine, and then he can, I get to train. Yeah. So I didn't care about whatever they wanted me to do. If they wanted me to coach 17 hours a day, that was fine.
As long as you could train.
Yeah. And sometimes you would come in when I'm training, he would come in and correct something. Tasha, I think you have to do this. I think you have to do that. Okay. And then, so I stayed there for 6 months. I was playing USTAs, a lot of USTAs, getting points. But then also, I think I was draining my uncle financially.
I got it.
And then my visa expired. And he's like, well, you gotta go. You gotta go back to Zimbabwe. And then I was like, no.
You gotta get to school.
Yeah, no, I was done with school.
I'm saying you would have to then go to university.
Exactly. But then I was not thinking of university, because who would be paying for that, you know? Financially, my mom...
You don't think you could get financial aid or qualify for it?
I didn't know about that. I was in the dark.
Okay.
Here you guys get financial aid. Back home, we don't do that. You don't have money, you don't go anywhere. You don't have money, you're not going to go to school.
You just don't go. You don't ask. I get it.
Yeah, here you get student loans. You got a lot. Back home, if you don't have it at hand, no, you're not going anywhere. So I went back home. And then I stayed home for like 6 more months.
Okay.
And then I have an uncle that was here, my dad's brother. And he's like, oh yeah, you should come here, and then you should like go to school when I help you go to school. I was like, oh, okay. So I came here, and then I went to Mississippi first to my uncle's, and then I went to North Dakota because my uncle works in the oil field.
Okay.
So when I got to North Dakota, I was just playing tennis at a park. And then
So you just went with your uncle who's working in the oil field?
Yes. So he was like, let's go play tennis. I hear you play tennis. I hear you're good. Show me how you do it. I was like, okay. I was sponsored by Wilson before I left America the previous time.
Okay.
So I had like tons of rackets.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, I'll give you one of my rackets and we go play. And he was just messing around.
Okay.
And then that coach was walking her dog. And then she's like, where do you play?
The coach that you eventually went to school with was out at those tennis courts?
Yeah. And
just happened to be?
Yeah. And she was just walking her dog. You know. Wow. And then she's like, where do you play tennis? I'm like, I'm not playing anywhere. You know, she's like, how old are you? And I told her, and she's like, you're not in college? And I was like, no. She's like, no way. I was like, yeah. And she's like, give me your number. And I was like, I don't have an American number.
I don't have a number.
I was like, I don't have an American number. And then she's like, okay, give me your email. I was like, what is that? You know, because I don't know what an email address is. And she's like, okay, somewhere I can communicate with you. So she got my uncle's information, and then started talking to my uncle. And then she wanted me to come in. It was like the school was in town actually. She wanted me to meet the team, and then she's like, you could be like this, you know, showing me all the good side of college, showing all the good
except
things.
the studying part.
Yeah. If she had shown me all that, I would be like,
oh, come on. So what was the school's name again?
University of Mary.
University of Mary.
Yes.
Okay, and they were Division III school, right?
It was a Division II.
Division II. Mm-hmm. And where did you? And so did she offer you like an official scholarship?
Yeah, she offered me a scholarship right away. Wow. But then she was like, it's not going to be a full scholarship, but then like you're going to have academics. Okay. And I was like, I mean, yeah, I graduated high school, so maybe if they're good. And then something happened with NCAA because I had been playing a lot of ITF and getting money, so I couldn't go to school right away. Okay. So I had to go to a junior college. Okay. So I went to Kansas. So I was in Kansas for like 1 semester. Wow. And
then you qualified to get to school. And where did you play? What position did you play?
So I played one. When I was in Kansas too, I played one. I played one for singles, I played one for doubles. And then I went to University of Mary, and then I played one. So I played one for like 3 years, 4 years, all my college career I played one.
So think about, we're back to patience. Think about, do you remember how old you were the first day you went to that?
I was 8.
So you were 8.
I was 8.
And then how old were you when you got the scholarship for College of Mary?
Yeah, University of Mary.
University of Mary.
So I was
19? 20?
I think I was 17, 18.
17.
17.
So you were 6, you said? 7 again? When you first...
Yes, I was 8 when I started playing.
So you think about that, right? It's almost 10 years, right?
Yes.
For things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to talk about not an easy 10 years. It wasn't like you were having private lessons and having clinics.
I never had any private lessons.
Creates tenacity.
Yeah.
It's incredibly inspiring.
I had my first racket when I was 12. The one I didn't have to share with everybody.
It's amazing. it really is an amazing story. I mean, you think about anything compared to it, like whatever, anybody that you deal with anything, running a business, doing anything, it's really inspiring to see someone with such tenacity and work ethic that I'm I'm almost speechless or blown away by it, because we get everything, like we were talking about before off camera, we get everything so easily around here. You were talking about, tell me about the story about when you were in the airport.
Oh, so actually there's so many things that happened, but I'll like share. So I got out of the plane and I was so thirsty. Yeah. And then I walked up to one of the people that are at the gate. So imagine, this is my first time seeing like the whole airport like this.
And which airport is this? Do you know?
It was Heathrow.
Heathrow, okay.
Yeah, Heathrow. That one in London.
London, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thirsty. So I woke up to her, I'm like, hey, where can I get water? Like, I'm really thirsty. And she's like, there's a water fountain if you walk down there, you know. So I was like, water fountain. So this is a fountain. When someone says a water fountain, I'm expecting like
like something coming out of the rocks or something?
Exactly. Because back home, we don't really have like tapes. We have like boreholes, and you know, wells, you know, where you have to like walk maybe like 15-20 minutes, you know, to get water. Yeah, just to get water to take a shower with, to drink, you know. So I was like, so when she said a water fountain, I was like, okay, so I have to go out of the airport and maybe I'll see a fountain. So I walked like, I think 5 minutes. I passed a lot of those. So I asked again. I was like, hey, she said there's a water fountain.
Well, I don't recognize these devices on the wall. What are these?
What is it? And then some guys were like, oh, it's right there. So I just stood there. I was like, okay, I'm literally just standing by the water fountain. I can't see how to open it, you know. And it's like, so I just stood there, you know. I was like, maybe someone is just gonna come and say excuse me or whatever, you know. I stood there for like 20 minutes, you know, like just staring at it, you know, because and then this guy was like, excuse me, and he came and then he leaned forward and the water just started coming so I was like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. So he left and I leaned forward, nothing came out.
He's probably pressing it, right?
He was pressing on the side.
So you think it's just lean forward and it's just gonna magically...
That's what I thought. I was like, everything here has just been like new, you know. So I leaned forward and then nothing came out. I was like, oh my goodness. And then someone was passing. I was like, excuse me, like it's not coming out. And then they're like, oh, you just have to press on the side, honey. God. So I was like, oh, okay. So I pressed and I just laughed. That's amazing. I was there for like another 10 minutes just drinking and going back. So I started looking, was like, where is this water coming from, you know? So I was just standing over there and I was looking. I was like, where is it coming from? So I was pressing and it would go into that small thing. I was like, where is it going?
It's amazing. I mean, it's just like, we take things for granted like crazy. And I always tell everybody to, you know, replace expectation with appreciation. You'll be happy, right? Just appreciate what you have, and instead of expecting everything. Like, we could go on and on. I want to take, because we don't have enough time. I want to take round 2 to talk about the foundation you started. What's the name of the foundation?
So it's called TD Global Sports.
Oh, we'll go a little bit over. We can do. We got a couple minutes. TD Global Sports. So it seems like from where you started, you wanted to do the same thing this individual did for you. Help people. So what... Now, my question was to you is, when we were talking about on your website, go to tdsports.com?
TD Global Sports.
tdglobalsports.com.
So it's just
how do you find the talent are the people working for you find people that have certain athletic ability, or you just, how do you find people, like I saw a football player there or soccer, and how do you find the people with ability to say, all right, we want to sponsor you?
So usually it's like the people that are back in Zimbabwe. So I
just popped it up.
So there are people like in Zimbabwe, there are people in Ghana, there are people in Tanzania,
okay.
Just different countries. So most of them, they find clubs that have like individuals that are really talented, but then they just don't have sponsorship to go.
But did they tell you, Tasha, this person's really talented?
Yeah, they look at the person because they know the sport. So they're different sports. I have someone that knows more about football, someone that knows about tennis, that's me. And someone that probably knows more about volleyball or rugby, So they'll be like, I think this kid is talented. So I'll be like, okay, let's see what we can do. How best can we help this individual, like, be a better person.
And then you answered my question before. I said, who's funding this? And what did you say?
I'm funding it.
She said, from my paycheck. And I was like, I better give you a big raise to help all these people. I was like, guys, Tasha, you're getting a large raise. No, I can't. It's just great. It's just great to hear. I mean, Santi, you can say something from behind there. What do you think?
I feel like a bum.
I feel like, what am I doing hanging out? You just surf every day, right?
Surf,
I know.
Snowboard.
I know.
Just hang out.
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah, I try not to do the fun stuff. I'll be like, if I do this, how about if I help? Because, like, I started a new one. There's it's the same organization, but it focuses on kids that don't like those sports, but at the same time, they can't afford to go to middle school. Okay. So I'll be like, okay, middle school is probably $10 like a month for them to go to school. Yeah. So if I take 20 kids, that's just $200 from my paycheck.
Yeah, I get it.
So how about I just take $200 for this month only, and then I give it to these kids. So my paycheck for next week, for the next 2 weeks, that $200 is already a minus. So instead of me getting so and so, I'm just gonna.
You just know that it's
exactly,
just being
that
taken
minus
out.
200 because they are the like 220 kids that I can help go to school. Just by doing that. So could be. It's fun. At the end of the day, they call me. They're like, "Oh my gosh, thank you!"
Yeah.
And they're crying. I'm like, "It's okay."
But you're making a difference. It's huge.
Yeah, if there was someone like that, because at the end of the day, you're reducing a lot of like unwanted pregnancies, early marriages,
correct,
and stuff like that. And I've seen it because I come from there.
Yeah.
So if you can avoid it, you can't avoid it. But then you can help a little bit.
But we're just going back to this theme. What patience, tenacity does, if you didn't had your own stick-to-itiveness, you would never gotten here to be able to make money to take care of all these people. So if you're getting dejected, if you have failure, which you're going to have, realize it takes a long time to get where you need to go, and it's still going to take time, and it's still going to be failures, but in that process you can have successes, right? But it takes time. You're a walking example of that. It's amazing.
Yeah. Took a while from 8 to 24 now, so about 15 years. 16.
I'm not good with math. 16. I'm not good with math. I can't do it.
My math.
But Tasha, we hope you're here for a while because.
Oh, I am. I'm not going to the cold. I'm gonna be here.
I hope it's not just the weather you like. I hope it's like you like the people.
And the people too.
Or the cold. I don't want to be in the cold.
Santi's been nice, so.
That's funny. No, we love you. We love you being here. You're doing a great job. And this is not a job interview. This is not a job review. We just wanted to talk to you about patience.
Okay.
But thank you, everybody. Hopefully this was helpful. Share it. Have a good day. Bye.
Love it.
Please share it with your friends, anybody that you know, anybody that's into tennis, anybody that's into bettering themselves. Share it.